Man, the Celtics and the 76ers battle to open the season. The Warriors look to get a victory after their ring ceremony, and the Clinic looks into betting odds for the 2022 to 2023 season. I'm Rosa Panta. This is Clinic All NBA podcast. I have the three hooligans with me. JJ, how you living, my friend?
New season, new me. Let's get it, baby.
Let's get it, man. John, how you living, my friend?
Feeling terrible, feeling bad. How are you?
Sammy, how you living, my friend?
Man, basketball is back. The Lakers lost. Somehow everything feels normal again.
Yes, indeed, basketball is back, and we're going to start with the first game here. It was a Celtics win over the 76ers. I'm going to ask you guys, after all this offseason drama with the Celtics, also this is, I think, the first game coached by Mazzulla. What did you guys think of the Boston Celtics in our first look with them?
Man, I mean, I thought they looked like themselves. Tatum and Brown looked like they picked up. I was curious to see how Tatum was going to come out in the first game after he got so maligned for that finals performance. And he showed out, man. 35, 12 boards, 4 assists. He did a little bit of everything. Team shot really well. I think the only thing that you wonder is, was this just a hot shooting night, or are they going to pick up? Other thing I liked personally was that Brogdon stepped right into that role that they wanted for him with 16 points off the bench. Defensively, they weren't great. You wonder how much Williams being out is going to affect them. So that was my initial thought. Jay, what did you think?
I thought the same. To add on to your notes over there, without Robert Williams, I thought Embiid was going to have his way. But if you did watch the game and even though the numbers don't really tell the story, Embiid didn't get all the shots that he should have. That's probably because of James Harden, and I'm gonna kind of steal some of the thunder that John and Jin will probably say, but Doc Rivers, terrible coaching, where you could see on the flip side where the Celtics, they're well coached. They have team chemistry and everything came into motion today. So props to the Celtics, because after that offseason with Udoka, they came into the game and they beat a favorite team to win the East.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to ask now, what did we think of the first look of the 76ers in this match? What do you guys think?
So, okay. James Harden, my dark horse MVP pick. And if you look at his individual stats, he played like it. 35, 7, and 8. Shooting 64% from the field. Granted, it's one game. But I feel like coming into the season in shape, and he looked a lot better, maybe better than he ever did last year. I feel like this could be the year. Now, the Sixers have to win games, obviously. And their starters played well. They shot over, everybody on the starting lineup shot over 50%. The team as collectively shot 50%. The reason why they lost this game is obviously Doc Rivers made some questionable coaching decisions, but also their bench got outscored 34-11. And when your bench gets outscored by more than three times, you're not going to win many games. That's just the bottom line. The Celtics, they have a really deep team. So, granted, the Sixers probably didn't play that great of a defense, and their second unit didn't play. I mean, they have Montrezl Harrell. Sorry, Sammy. Clipper legend and Laker legend. Doesn't play very good defense. And, they lost this game on the defensive end. But if the Sixers can win more games, they're known to do that in the regular season. I still think James Harden has a really good chance, outside chance, dark horse chance to win MVP. But one game, hard to make a real assessment at this point, but, Boston looks good.
Yeah, John, I'm with you. I'm like half glass full on this whole situation. I think the Boston Celtics, they're already fine-tuned. They know what their rotations are. They know who their starters are. They know their roles. With the 76ers, I mean, you're inserting PJ Tucker and also Montrezl Harrell and some other people. And I think it's going to take a while for them to gel. But with James Harden having a big game, I believe that, it's a good start. I think this is a great start for them. They went up against a really great Boston team, and they looked kind of lethargic at times, but I think that's because they don't know how to play with PJ Tucker yet. He's not really an offensive guru. He does defense only. So I think only time will tell. JJ, I think you were about to say something here.
No, yeah, thanks. I was just gonna say that with Harden and Embiid, they were playing a lot of the high pick and roll together. But Embiid, when he's down low, that's when he's at his best. I know he could shoot his threes, but if you watch the game, Embiid needed the ball down low. And what John was saying, they lost because of their defense. You had the Celtics that scored 39 in the second quarter and 35 in the third quarter. Like, what's Doc Rivers doing not playing Thibault? He's like one of the best defenders in the league, and you don't have him guarding Brown or Tatum? Like, shouldn't that be like an obvious choice? Like, that baffled me watching that game where I kept thinking, where's Thibault? Where's Thibault? Where's Thibault? And then you have Tatum and Brown getting whatever they want because who's guarding them? James Harden.
Yeah, that's absolutely curious why he did that. I'm with you, Jay. I'm going to take us to the next game here. The Warriors take down the Lakers after the ring ceremony, 123-109. I'm going to ask you guys, what did you guys think of the Warriors after their ring ceremony? I'm going to toss it to JJ here.
The Warriors look great. The one thing I know that everyone's going to take note of is the relationship between Draymond and Poole, and if that was going to affect the chemistry on the court, but the Warriors look like the Warriors. Right now, we're trying to see how Kerr inserts his rotations, especially with the 3 youngins and the 2 newcomers. And I'm speaking of Wiseman, of course, who's coming back from injury. You have Kuminga, you have Moody, and then DiVincenzo, and also JaMychal Green, who played great tonight. So, props to John. He mentioned this in our text that first game back, it was really rusty. He kind of saw like a lot of mistakes, mental errors, turnovers, bad shots. But in the third quarter, the Warriors do what they do, which is go on a huge run in the third and expand that lead.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. The part that I like the most, I like seeing the young guys all in there together. I like seeing Wiseman, Kuminga, Poole. I think Curry was in that lineup as well, and JaMychal Green. But for the most part, we had like the future of the Warriors. A look at them. It wasn't a lot of good minutes by them, but you saw flashes of what they could do, and that's what I was really interested in this game, was to see that. So that was nice to see. Now I'm going to take us to the Lakers here. What did you guys think of the new look Lakers?
I think John wants to commiserate for a second, so I'll go ahead and go first here. In the beginning,
I don't think it was that bad. I don't think it's that bad.
In the beginning of the game, I liked that they definitely looked a lot more athletic than they did last year. I'll start with that. That Davis in particular got up after he fell most of the time, so that was a good thing to see. He was all over the place, and I will give him credit for that in the first half. He had a great first half of this game. Second half, he struggled a bit, but like you guys said, that's what the Warriors do. Outside shooting is clearly still a concern. They shot, I want to say, 18% from deep in the first half before finishing out at 25%. And you look at the roster and you just don't see any defined shooters that I can see. And scoring balance-wise, obviously, it's going to take them a little while to find the rotation, and I get that. There's a lot of new players here. The 3 guys hit double figures as they normally do, Davis, James, and Westbrook, and then none had 13 and nobody else had more than 5 points. So you just wonder about the balance, if they're going to find those extra contributors, and just how the shooting's going to look going forward. So that was my initial read on this game.
Sorry, I was taken aback because Sammy had such a very level-headed assessment of my team here. I thought he was going to go hard on how bad they are and we should blow it up after one game.
Oh, you should, but I mean, still, I'm just going to be nice about it.
That's fair. That's what I want to hear. No, I mean, yeah, it's one game, but what I keep coming back to every time with the Lakers is that, and I know you don't want to live in the past, but in 2020 when we won the championship, I know it was unusual circumstances, a shortened season, a season that was paused and then restarted, but the familiarity and the importance of having a team together for longer than a year, I think Pelinka and management do not understand the importance and how crucial that and critical that is, not just for the Lakers, but for any team, right? For any championship aspirated team, is that, think about it. Like every year for the last 2 or 3 years, the Lakers have brought in 5 or more new players for 1 year on usually 1 year contracts, trying to gel together and bring a team together within a season. And that is extremely, extremely difficult. And that's kind of what you saw today in today's game. Guys that haven't played together, Sammy's right, they look more athletic, they look more like they can run up and down the court, play better defense because they have more speed. But ultimately, they make a lot of turnovers. They don't know where guys are supposed to be. Their timing is way off. But then you look at the Warriors and they can make passes that, that you don't think should be made or would be a turnover, but they make them because they know their guys. They play with them for multiple years. And that's why it's so hard. It's a challenging time to be a Laker fan because you have optimism, but at the same time, these are all new guys. It's going to take some time. And is it going to be enough time? I mean, the season is 82 games, but by the time you start to gel, you could be way out of the playoff picture. I mean, the West is going to be strong this year. So, it's one game. I don't want to overreact, but I hope they can gel quick because there's a lot of new guys on the team.
Did you guys like the 1-2 punch of starting Beverly and Westbrook together? Or do you think that's something that they're going to have to stagger those two eventually?
I think they have no choice. If you have Matt Ryan getting minutes and he didn't even have a roster spot on the Celtics last year, and he got some meaningful minutes against the champions, that's kind of crazy to me. Like, Rob Pelinka got an extension last week. I'm sure John got really happy because of that. But dude, if I'm a Laker fan, that terrifies me because their current roster construction. Just imagine this, fellas. Like, Sammy, you could probably expand on this, but half of the team from last year, they're not playing this year. They're out of the league. Half of the Laker team from last year, they're not even playing this year.
Yeah.
And that speaks to what John also mentioned earlier, unique continuity. Why do the Warriors get into their habits so quickly? Because the structure of that team has been the same outside of the Wiggins trade for years. We know who the big players are. They know where each guy's going to be. And for the last 3 or 4 years in a row, the Lakers have had to figure this out on the fly. And you're absolutely right about that, John. It's not going to work. And this year, I really think the schedule is going to work against them to begin with because their first 7 is absolutely brutal. I mean, after this game, Clippers, Blazers, at Nuggets, at Wolves, home Nuggets, home Pelicans. That's how they start. Trying to figure out.
Lakers Blazers that's an automatic win for the Lakers.
That would be a good one.
I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say.
That better be a win for the Lakers because if it's not, it's going to be rough this year.
Man, for me, I'd like to see Kendrick Nunn crack this starting lineup. Like, I would like to see Beverly come off the bench or something like that because I don't think Westbrook could come off the bench because they still need value for him. But I think they need one more shooter. Lonnie Walker is probably the only decent 3-point shooter out of the starting lineup. I guess besides LeBron James now. But Kendrick Nunn I think would be a good addition there.
But what was also a head scratcher to me is that they started Beverly, Westbrook, and they started Lonnie Walker, who are all under 6'5", I believe.
Yeah.
And they had Klay Thompson and Wiggins, who are 6'7", 6'8", and from a defensive standpoint, it was kind of a head scratcher move. But I'm sure Darvin Ham is trying to figure out things. I mean, he's putting out a lineup with the roster that he's given. So I can't really blame the coach here.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm actually going to bring something up. I'm going to go back to the Celtics 76ers game. We actually had a first look at the take foul violation. In this game, I think Jaylen Brown fouled Tyrese Maxey on what would have been a fast break, and he fouled immediately. And Maxey ended up shooting a technical free throw because of it. What do you guys think of this new rule? Do we like it? Do we not like it? Do we want to keep take fouls? What's your guys' assessment here?
No, take fouls are terrible. We want the fast break, boys, right? We want dunks. We want old school basketball back.
Personally, I like
clotheslines.
stoppages in play every time something exciting is going to happen. So
I think the take foul is only good if we can clothesline like Kurt Rambis got clothesline back in the 80s.
Oh my goodness! All right, we're getting a little
I know,
out
I'm
there
just
now.
kidding. I'm totally just kidding. Sorry, Sammy, you were saying? I'll go
no,
after you.
I'm completely for this rule. And I think what's going to happen is in the first few weeks, players are going to get used to the fact that it's a much harsher penalty. And then we'll start to see a lot less take fouls. Probably, I'd say give it like 3 weeks to a month.
Yeah,
I agree, man.
I agree with it. I think it's a good rule. I think smart players, they'll adapt.
Yeah.
And they'll make it look like it's unintentional, right? Like you'll try to go for the ball, but you're really trying to like just make it less obvious and less blatant. And I think players will adjust, at least the smart ones.
I can't wait to see what Patrick Beverly does that's in the adjustment, because you know he's going to come up with something good.
And with that, we're gonna take a short break with a word from our sponsor.
NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball's back, baby. So tip off the season with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TBPN. Make any $5 bet this week and get $200 free, $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Wow.
All right, and with that, we are actually going to talk about some odds from our friends at DraftKings now as part of our season preview. So just to kick it off, I'm going to go straight to MVP. And as you gentlemen can all see, I've got the odds laid out here. So among our favorites, Luka Doncic for the second consecutive year opens as the favorite at plus 425. Giannis comes in at plus 600. Embiid comes in at plus 650. KD comes in at plus 800. And back-to-back MVP comes in, Nikola Jokic comes in at plus 900. Of the group there, thinking value and looking at the whole list that I have for you, thinking of value and just who you think is going to win it, give me some opinions here. I'll start this off with June.
Man, right now I'm looking at Nikola Jokic at plus 900. I know it's a three. It would be a three-peat for MVP, but the value is there. The talent is there. Now he has a nice supporting group because he has Michael Porter Jr. coming back. He also has Jamal Murray coming back as well. I think that's kind of a sneaky pick. I think there's a case for him if he's able to take the Nuggets to like a 2 or 3 seed, which I don't think is outside the realm of possibility.
Yeah, agreed on that. I think the Nuggets will shut out the 1 seed.
That's the one that I'm looking at. What about you guys?
I like that logic. JJ?
Well, I don't think the NBA, because we've talked about this, they love the narratives. They're not going to give it to Jokic again for a back-to-back and back-to-back-to-back. So, three-peat, that I don't see that within the realm. He's not even considered top 5 on some people's list for the current best players. So, that's a good question, but I don't think the narrative will fit it. If I would to put money and the best value for my money, Sammy, call me crazy, man. Tatum and Morant, their favorites last year, and at them at plus 1,400 and 1,500. Talk me out of it. Are those good picks or what?
All right, I will not talk you out of it because I actually had a specific player earmarked for this when we started, and I changed my mind right when we started. I actually like Tatum for this too because of the narrative. They came out tonight, they looked like themselves, and if they do that and they win 55 games again, it's going to look really good on him if he comes out and has the kind of year he has. So I love those picks. So I'm definitely with you on that. Ja, I like the idea too because it would continue his ascent. The only one thing I wonder with the Grizzlies, I can't help but shake. I don't know if that team, they're not a flash in the pan, but I don't know if the West is so strong that they're actually going to be like a 6th seed this year.
I could see that though. Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm wondering. So I really like the Tatum pick though. I'm with you on that. John, what do you think?
You know what my first question is, right? Where's James Harden on this list?
Dude, I just looked it up. He's plus 7,000.
Listen, okay, I know he's not on the list that we see here, but if the viewers
go
can't see
ahead.
it, or the viewers can see it, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go with James Harden. I know he's not on the list, but if we're going by what I'm seeing here, you know what? I like Giannis. I think Giannis is going to come back. I think the Bucks are going to be the top seed in the East, and I think he's going to win another MVP.
Nice. And you know what? Just because this is just the top of the list, man, if you're right on that Harden pick at 70-1 odds, that would be pretty incredible. So he had a good start tonight. He had a great start tonight.
You can put
The
20
Sixers need
bucks
to
on
win.
that, man.
But they
Yeah.
need to win more games.
But unless Prop
So.
27 passes, you're going to have to drive to Arizona to do it. So don't forget to
It's
vote.
true.
Anyway,
So what I really meant was 20 Mario coins.
Yeah.
depends on the state, listeners. Depends on the state. The one other thing, the one other player I was going to throw in this, who I said I changed right before we started. My initial lean was actually Embiid. The thought process being that Doc Rivers, we know, is not a great playoff coach. In the regular season, his teams tend to get over 50 wins, so they'll probably be at least top 4, most likely, in the East. And there was a lot of talk that Embiid should have won last year's award. So there might be a little bit of subconscious favoritism if he's near the top again this year.
Kind of like a makeup pick if it's close enough.
Exactly. So that was my initial logic, but the more I thought about it, once JJ brought it up, I'm on board with that Tatum pick too. But I like the logic that everyone's got here. I think this is going to be a great MVP race this year. The only thing, personally, I'm just looking at this list, there's some surprising names that are up this high for me. Anthony Edwards, I know, is a great player. I think him being this high and above Harden was a little shocking to me. You guys know I'm a Clipper homer. If Kawhi plays more than 55 games this year by the choice of the team, I would be shocked. So I don't think he's going to meet the games requirement. And Zion being that high is just ridiculous. I hope he has an amazing year, but there is no way he should be that high.
It's got to be hype, right? That's why it's all over there.
100%. That if he's that high, that means there are people coming in and betting it, and DraftKings adjusted the odds accordingly.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, and I just like that team's going to be solid too with Brandon Ingram and
That's
CJ
going to be a
McCollum.
very good team. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I just can't see him finishing the top 8.
I don't see that either.
Yeah, but
I don't see how Dame Lillard has better odds than James Harden.
That's what I'm saying. How is Dame
Like,
up there?
Well, the team is like not that. I mean, the Blazers are not going to be good.
you don't think a 10 seed could win the MVP? No? Okay.
Well, they're not going to be good. What I was going to say, Sammy, is that they're not going to be good. But if Damian Lillard can bring them to the playoffs or like a 6th seed somehow, then you have to consider him.
I agree with that.
But what's crazy is that like Dame Lillard, when he was making the playoffs over and over and over, I don't think he ever finished as like a top 5 MVP candidate. So to have him on this list this year, it seems kind of silly to me.
You know what my theory is on that? I think absence makes the heart grow fonder. People saw his
That's
name, and they just wanna bet on the Damian Lillard comeback season.
Loyalty, baby.
Yep.
Loyalty.
So basically, like John and James Harden. Got it.
Yes.
Pretty much. Although John's James Harden logic is better to me than the Dame Lillard logic, but
There we go.
I will leave it at that. Friends don't let friends make that bet for MVP.
He's in
Anyway,
shape now, guys. He's in shape now. He lost a lot of weight. Come on.
That he did. It even got commented on the TNT broadcast. All right, let's go to the NBA champion. The odds on this one are really interesting to me. 3-way tie at the top: Clippers, Warriors, and Celtics. The next best odds: your Brooklyn Nets at plus 700. Which,
What?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Coming in behind them, the Bucks at 800, the Suns at 1200, the Sixers at 1500. I'm going to shout out John, the 8th best odds to win the championship, the Lakers at 1800. Looking at this
That's pretty
clip,
high. That's high to me.
high is the word. So I'm
Very
going to
high.
start this one. I'll start this one off with JJ.
Snoop Dogg high.
So obviously, first of all, who do you think is going to win the championship? We'll start there because that makes the most sense. And then, if you were going to make a value pick again here, who do you like?
Well, if I'm gonna be a homer, I would assume it's the Warriors, but
Nice.
without being biased the best team on paper, obviously is the Clippers and the Bucks, in my opinion. For the value pick, I would say it's the Bucks at plus 800. I thought it would be a lot higher. It's crazy that the Nets are high though at plus 700. And we've discussed this over and over again, but I know they have KD and Kyrie, but did they factor in the outside drama? Did they factor in that usually that the top 5 defensive teams make it to the finals and they're not a top defensive team?
Right.
Those are my thoughts about the Nets.
Agreed. John, your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, the favorites are not really surprising, except for the Clippers. They should definitely be in the
Plus 6,000, I think.
7 or 8,000 range. No, I'm kidding. JJ's right. On paper, they look really good. Obviously, the health is the biggest factor, which is it is every year for them. Hey, Kawhi. Yeah, you watch yourself, Kawhi Leonard. But my value pick here would be the Nuggets at 1,800.
I like that one.
And
I like that, John.
I think, Jamal Murray, if he comes back healthy and he comes back to play the way he did in the bubble, and, Jokic, obviously you always have a chance. Michael Porter Jr. he's always the X factor, but his back is just, man, he's had so many issues with his back. They have KCP, and then they have Aaron Gordon. I'm still kind of iffy on Aaron Gordon's fit there, but he is an asset if they want to move him midseason or something like that. But I do like the Nuggets as a whole, and that value at 1,800. So.
Yeah, very true. And I'm with you on them. And I would also say, just as not the same player, but a little bit of Michael Porter insurance, to me, most underrated signing of the offseason was Bruce Brown. I think he would fill a perfect role there with Jokic setting him up for pick and pops and as a good 3-and-D wing. Because Porter's not going to play more than 70 games at most, I would assume, probably less than that. So I really like that pickup for them too. June?
First, I'll say, friends, please don't bet on the Nets and the Suns. This is absolutely ridiculous how they're up on this list so high. Like, those are just like tire fires, just like waiting to happen. I don't understand this, but I think JJ's right here with the best value. It's gotta be the Bucks at plus 800. I mean, they already have championship DNA. The Nuggets kind of scare me a little bit because they haven't been there yet. But the Bucks, if you're looking for value, plus 800, that sounds like a pretty solid pick there. But I guess my pick to win it all, like if everyone was perfectly healthy, gotta go Clippers, man.
See, I want to pick the Clippers too, but I don't, because then I'm setting myself up for constant disappointment, which is kind of the hallmark of being a Clippers fan. So there's a couple.
You know the big if though. That's the thing though. You're well aware.
This is health.
Yeah.
This is health. If that team is healthy, they're as good as anybody. I feel good about that. But your top 3 players have all missed significant time the last few years, so that's what scares me. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm going to throw some other ones out there to you guys that just, the odds are interesting. Really want to like Philly. Doc is stopping me. Because the rest of that team looks like it makes a lot of sense, and PJ Tucker fills in needs they had just for toughness. Just that part of the team that was missing, he fills in well. Cannot trust Doc to coach them to a championship, though.
No. Zero adjustments today.
If Kerr, if Ty Lue, like, hell, and all kidding aside, like, if Vogel, the version of Vogel that coached the Lakers in 2020 was the coach of that team, I'd really like them as a dark horse. Fully on board with the Nuggets pick, too. I'm going to give you an insanely crazy long shot here, but if everything pulls perfectly together, I throw just a tiny sprinkle on the Pelicans at 40-1. Just a sprinkle at 40-1. If Zion plays 70 games and everything comes together, like I said, not full on betting on it, but just a taste at 40-1. Those are really long odds.
You're also betting on CJ McCollum being like a true playoff performer too. That's dangerous.
That's how you get all the way up to 40-1, because you're betting on stuff like that.
Hey, Jay, I was disappointed. I thought you were gonna pull out the Steve Urkel soundboard for CJ McCollum. There we go.
So what I will do is I'll say a little sprinkle on that, but the value bet I like, I'm going to split this board evenly at 2-2. I'm going to go with John at Denver. I like it at 18-1 a lot. I think that team has a legit shot at being the 1 seed. Really good picks, though. I love the analysis from everybody on that one. So following up on that one, let's talk about the Western Conference. Clippers are a very slight favorite over Golden State, 320 and 330 for those two. So I know the inclination for all of us would probably be to pick one of those two teams. So I'm gonna take this one at a little bit differently of a look. Plus 1,000 and on. So we're talking about Dallas, Memphis, Minnesota, Pelicans, Blazers, and 5 other teams I'm not even gonna bother mentioning. If you had to pick one, who are you taking of those teams?
You would have to go for... Oh man, this is a tough pick, but the best overall team would be the Grizzlies, right?
Mm-hmm.
They kind of went far. They pushed the Warriors. Like Jun kept saying that the last pod. Like the one team you could argue that challenged the Warriors more than the Celtics or the Grizzlies. So at plus 1,000 or above, that would be my pick.
Okay, I like it. John?
I mean, I as much as I don't want to agree with JJ, I have to kind of agree with him. I do think it's the Grizzlies. I mean, they are physically, they're the most, they use their physicality and their aggressiveness, and that's the kind of style that you need to beat teams like the Warriors and championship pedigree teams. Is you have to beat them up and you have to tire them out and wear them out the same way that the Warriors wear out other teams with their shooting and their constant motion. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Grizzlies at 1,000 here.
Okay, nice. June?
So no one wants to give love to the Sacramento Kings making the playoffs for the first time and winning Western Conference. No.
The only intervention I'm going to give you here on that is, I know we don't have win totals here, but one of my favorite win totals of the entire board is Sacramento going over 33.5. I will just say that 33.5 should say something about their championship prospects.
This is true. I'm
go ahead.
Completely joking about that.
Yeah.
I will say one thing before I say my pick. The Timberwolves, I'm avoiding them like the plague. There's no way I'm putting any bets on the Timberwolves. I don't think
Gobert,
this whole
baby.
Rudy Gobert and Cat thing, I don't think it's going to work out. Their perimeter defense is going to be absolutely awful. But my pick is actually going to be the New Orleans Pelicans.
Nice.
I'm a little worried about Triple J, his health, until I see him well. Then I'll go back to the Grizzlies. But as far as today, I'm going to go with the New Orleans Pelicans.
Nice. I'm actually... The one reason I didn't go to Memphis prior was the same thing. If Triple J comes back and he's healthy, I love the pick. I want to see how he looks. I did read some reports today that he is ahead of schedule and they think he'll be back by Christmas. So if that's the case, that's going to be a great pick. I'm going to throw another one out there just to also have some conversation here with a caveat. I think Dallas will have a shot, but I do not think the team they have right now is the team they will have by the trade deadline. There's a move to be made there for one more legit piece. And if they do that, then I don't like them as a favorite, but at that number, if you can walk into a series with arguably the best player in the series, I got to give you some love in that way. And we've seen what Luka can do against various teams where he's basically won series by himself. But I think there's a move there, and I think they're waiting for that next disgruntled star. And if they do that, that might be a pick. Sorry, Jun, you were going to say something?
You could get me with Dallas if it was like plus 2,000 or 2,500, but not at plus 1,000. Like if I'm going there, I'm still going to go with the Grizzlies.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's just my preference.
No love for the Blazers. I see how it is.
Even TNT was talking crap about the Blazers today. It was awful.
Yeah, I know. On an interesting note, obviously we wouldn't have touched any of these teams. Little shocking to me that Utah and San Antonio have better odds at all than Houston. I don't understand that in the slightest because Houston on paper has an incredibly better team. Obviously, all of these teams, barring something really weird, are going to be in the lottery. But San Antonio might as well, in big bold letters, said, "We want Wembanyama." Like,
Yeah,
that
Yes.
is,
it's pretty
They want
obvious.
yeah, I would be pretty shocked if San Antonio and Utah combined win 40 games this year. So it's a little weird to me that Houston's under both, considering Houston actually has players it's trying to sign. But with that, we'll move on. Eastern Conference, I'm going to throw out the same question here. So just to lay out the odds again, Boston at plus 290, Brooklyn at 330, Milwaukee at 370, and then there's a little bit of a break there. Philly at 750, Miami at 850. So now the team's over 1,000. Cleveland at 1,400, Toronto at 2,000, Atlanta at 2,000, the Bulls at 3,000. Of those teams, anybody you like at all, or are you sticking to the favorites? June, I'll start this with you.
Man, the only one that I like out of that group to possibly win the conference championship would be the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think they have the best defense. I think they're switchable. I like the group that they have. Yeah, I'm staying away from Toronto, the Hawks, and the Bulls. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Okay.
I wholeheartedly
go-
agree. I was gonna say the Cavs too, just because the Cavs, that's a matchup nightmare for any of the top teams, especially the Nets. I don't think the Nets could handle that roster now. And now that they have Donovan Mitchell, they have a solidified playmaker. I'm excited to see what they could do this year.
Okay. John?
I'm gonna go against the. This is gonna be an unpopular opinion, but I know it doesn't look like it, but I think the DeJounte Murray, Trae Young duo is going to surprise people.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I like that, dude.
I think it's gonna surprise people because I think you have two guards who are not the same. That DeJounte Murray can do a lot of things that Trae Young can't, and Trae Young can do a lot of things that DeJounte Murray can't. And I think they're going to balance each other out very well. So I'm going to go with the Hawks if I'm picking a team above 1,000 here.
Nice. I am going to give a little love to Toronto on this, only because I feel like that team plays above its talent every year because of good coaching. I think Nick Nurse is one of the best coaches in the league, and they definitely have an ascending player in Scotty Barnes, so I'm curious to see what kind of steps he takes this year. It's obviously a big ask for them to jump those teams in front of them,
Yeah.
but that team seems to be cohesive, and they have the contracts and the young talent to take a step if everything was to break right. So do I think they're going to win the conference? No, but at those odds, I'd take a small shot on it. All right, so I'm going to move on to a couple more, and then we'll wrap up. So last main odds I want to throw out there to you, most improved player. And this award is always interesting to me depending on the logic used for it. So I'm going to throw out the top 6 here, and then if you see another name you like, by all means, throw it at me. So top 6. Favorite is Anthony Edwards at plus 800, Tyrese Maxey at 1100, Zion at 1400, Tyrese Halliburton at 1400, and then Cade and Anthony Simons are both at plus 2000. So thoughts on the favorites here? Anybody else you like more so? And on this one, I'll start with John.
Sorry, I was looking at the list of players, and I'm just making sure that I know all of them. That's not a knock. What? I'm just teasing. I know all these players. Wow. This is an interesting one. You know what? I kind of like Tyrese Halliburton this year. I think he's going to make a jump, and I know that we've been saying that for the last, what is this, his 3rd year?
Yeah.
But I think he's going to make that leap. So I'm going to go with him.
Okay.
1400.
I could see it too, for sure. JJ?
For value,
Or just who you think, because the value's pretty good on all of these. You're getting 800 or better, so
I like straight up. I think the Scotty Barnes value is really good.
30 to 1. That's incredibly
Yeah.
good value.
It's incredibly good. That dude, remember, there were trade talks during the summer if the Raptors would be willing to trade for KD in exchange for Barnes. And people were arguing, I don't know if it's valid or not, but they were arguing that Scotty Barnes is the future. So the hype train is there for Scotty Barnes, and I'm all for it.
Nice. June?
I'm jumping on another hype train. I'm going to go with Zion. And I know people are going to be upset. They're going to be like, he didn't really improve. He just came back. But if Ja Morant can win this award, I think Zion could win this freaking award too.
You're right.
And he has the supporting group around him. I think he's going to be in it. And I think he'll at least be top 2. So I think Zion at 1,400 is a good bet.
Man, Ja winning that award has been like your secret axe to grind for months, and I've been here for it. But I get it. This one's a tough one, and I thought that's why it was fun to discuss this one. So I'm gonna circumvent this a little, just point out a couple guys. I like potentially. I know he's the second favorite. I think Maxi's just gonna get a lot of media coverage this year because Philly's gonna be on TV a lot. So I could see him potentially getting this award based on that. And he came out preseason and looked amazing. Tonight he continued to put up 21 in the first game, so he's definitely ascending. So I like that. Gonna throw a little love here on Jalen Brunson. Got the big contract. Clearly he's gonna have the ball a lot. Gonna get a lot more opportunities to score and distribute than he did in Dallas. At 25-1, I would definitely consider that one. I think that there's a better shot there than we realize, just because you're not paying a guy almost $30 million a year if he's not going to handle the ball a lot. So if he can also elevate Barrett and Randall, it's going to reflect really well on him for this award. So at those odds, I don't mind it at all. Otherwise, there's some other names on here. DeAndre Ayton I don't get at 30-1 just because he's already a good player. And then I think Jordan Poole honestly just got too much exposure already. I think if this was last year, he'd have a good shot at the award, but now he's been hyped and he's got a big contract. So I can't see it for that reason, but good player, just most improved doesn't seem to fit the profile there.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And Sammy, I'm actually going to cut you off here. We'll save the rest of the other ones for the next pod. That's actually all we have time for today. I want to thank you three for being on. JJ, thanks for being on, man.
All right, NBA season back at it. Can't wait to see what the year unfolds.
John, thanks for being on, man.
Hey, thank you. I'm ready to get my heart broken again. Darn you, Lakers.
And down Sammy, thanks for being on, man.
Always a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
And shout out to our video producer, RJ. Check out our YouTube channel. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Like us on our Facebook group page, The Clinic All NBA Podcast, and follow us on Twitter at Clinic All NBA. I'm Rosa Panta. This is The Clinic All NBA Podcast. Come find us wherever you get your podcasts.